Hello, everyone, and thank you once more for joining me on my channel today. And I am glad to have you this morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is your way. Thank you for joining me. And so today I want to talk about a few things that come as challenges when someone is going through a separation or a divorce. And so I'm going to start by just talking about the initial stress and trauma of a separation. You go through emotional stress, the planning process of having to move house for some people, and then relocating, and then the paperwork if you have to file for a divorce, the time and energy spent doing all of these things can actually impact you, your emotions. It can impact your physique. It can impact your psyche. And when you're going through a separation, it can happen that you decide to go through a divorce. Now, when people hear divorce, they have no idea what it entails, especially considering that many people haven't gone through it. Some people might just be in a relationship and separate and may not need to go through a divorce because they weren't married. But when you were married, you will have the process of applying for one. So one of you has to apply for the divorce with the registry office, and you would obviously have to give reasons why. So mind you, if you want it to be quick, then you would have to wait about 2 years, during which you're not staying with your partner or spouse, and then you can apply on the grounds of 2 years of separation. And if your spouse or partner does not contest the reason that you've given, then within 8 or 9 months, your decree absolute will be done and it will be final. But mind you, in between those 8-9 months, you will be receiving letters just reminding you of the process, that they are working on it. And some, in a way, they would want to just check if you're still happy to continue with the process. And so that is that with the divorce. Now, so it would take about 9 months. However, if you have a grounds for the divorce, which is not separation, and you choose to say you're filing for a divorce, for example, if you say it's because of infidelity or unfaithfulness, that process is likely going to take longer, because they would then need to investigate all of that and contact your partner. But if you just want it done like quickly and put behind you, just wait 2 years, file for it, and then within 8-9 months, your decree absolute will be done and the divorce will be final. I have to say that it is easier when a couple hasn't got kids, like in my case, or property. That makes it quick, easy. However, if children are involved, the process might take longer, because there will be custody battle kind of things, which parents will have the kids, and to share the time, the kids' time between the parents. All of that adds to the length of the process being completed. As well as property, if you had a joint property or you had properties that have to now be shared between you, that takes it longer. So this is the first thing I want to just mention about the challenges that come with a separation and a divorce that people might be unaware of. And of course, it causes stress and trauma, not just to the couple. If kids are involved, it causes stress for them as well. And then, of course, close family relatives are directly affected by it. And I'm bringing this in just again as a reminder that sometimes when people choose to be in a marriage, they have to take these things into consideration and think about it. But many of us, many young people don't do it. And I'm hoping that we will begin to have these conversations, those of us in our 40s, 50s, start to talk to our younger ones, our younger siblings, our younger nieces and nephews, our own children, and begin to educate them so that they are mindful, even though I know that there can also be deception where someone gets into a relationship without knowing what they're getting into. Sometimes it might just be a matter of luck or ill luck. I want to talk about another part of a separation that many people don't talk about, which is like an annulment for those who are married in a church, for example. And I'm being specific about the Catholic Church here. You will need to go through an annulment process. So for me, whilst last year my registry divorce went through, it was not the end of the process for me. I then had to start a new process to apply for an annulment. And the only grounds for which an annulment can be granted is if there is proof of some hidden agenda, concealed information by one spouse from the other, or deception, proof of deception right from the start of the marriage, with one person getting into this marriage without knowing. Now, I had touched on this before with my interview last year or 2 years ago with Cardinal Tumi, may he rest in peace. And so I'll try and put the link in the description box of this video so that if you haven't seen that interview yet, you can go back and have a look. So the annulment process is, first of all, the church doesn't believe in divorce. And it is something that anyone who is getting married into a church, like in the Catholic Church, needs to bear in mind. So if you're someone who is considering divorce in future, there's no point marrying in a church. They really don't. There's no point. There's no point doing it. Because they do counsel you. Most churches do, but a few don't, which is a kind of a lapse in the system, in the church system. Some parishes don't do it, but every parish should actually do an in-depth counseling process with the couple so that you know exactly what you're getting into, the challenges you'll be going through, so that at the point of difficulties, divorce, when you come to that point, you should also know that it will not be easy. It will not be easy. So what happens with the annulment process? When you file for an annulment, the church sends you a form to complete. That form will require you to write a statement, an in-depth statement stating the nature of your relationship, what the relationship was like pre-courtship, during courtship, during marriage, after marriage, at what point. They will prompt you with some thought-provoking questions. At what point in the relationship did you start to notice that there were issues? What happened? Who was involved? Did you consult anybody? What interventions took place? Finally, you have to answer all of these questions in your statement, send it to them, and then the church tribunal will now ask you to send 8 witnesses who will be contacted during their interview process, because they need to be people who knew the couple, who knew you and your spouse. They will interview them to try and find answers to the questions that they will raise to give grants for any annulments. An opportunity will also be given to the spouse to provide their own 8 witnesses if they so wish. And so the process then begins, and if they find that there are grounds for an annulment, that will be granted. And only then can you be allowed to remarry in the church. And so I just thought I should share this, because not until I started the processes did I realize how long and complicated, time-consuming, sometimes really stressful, it's a process that is not easy to go through. And then when you come to think about at the end of it, one point I really wanted to mention, which for me is one of the most annoying things, is the realization that the woman in the process is always on the disadvantage. You change your names, you marry, you change your names, and then when the separation, divorce is going through, you have to rechange your names. When you're changing your names to your spouse's name after marriage, it's always very easy. You send the marriage certificate, bam, names are changed. When you want to change your name back to your maiden name, oh my goodness. Sometimes they don't only want the marriage certificate, they want the divorce certificate, they want proof of this, proof of that. And then you have to start going through the different banks that had your names, you change there, your passport, you have to contact the home office, change your names and send these documents. Sometimes if you've lost one of the documents, if you've lost your marriage certificate, for example, it's a problem. You're stuck with a name that you don't want to keep, And I'm just thinking, what is the point of changing your name? If you're married to someone, you're already Mrs. whatever. Must you change your names in your documents? That's one thing that has just made me think, we don't even really need to change our names ever. It's a good thing, because you do it because you're committed. You believe it's a lifelong thing, but nobody knows the future. And it's only through this that I realize sometimes we stress ourselves for no reason. And at the moment, I'm just sharing this because I'm just going through a period where I'm thinking, a process of changing names. You have to call all your bill companies, call the banks, call the home office, try to send documentation to get and for some of these, it's taking forever. It's taken over a year and I'm still struggling to change my names with some companies. And you're just thinking, you leave your name and embrace somebody's name, and then when it all falls apart, you have to be going through the stress of changing your names. The man hasn't got any of these extra stresses that come in addition to the processes of the divorce and the annulment. I just thought, this is something we need to be thinking about when we're getting married as well. Anyone who is getting married, I'm not saying don't change your names, but just be mindful that when things go wrong, that is the extra stress that you would have to deal with. Hope I've not scared some people away. It's just the reality of the fact. And I just pray that some people will be appreciative of this whole process. I'm not going to end right now because I'm rounding up now without talking about my hair. I keep changing my hair, don't I? Afro, I'm it's kind of like experimenting with hair this time. Afro, now this one, they call it kinky. I'm beginning to learn names of hairstyles as well. So odd and new to me. I don't mind. I think it looks okay. It looks nice. But don't get confused with the many different looks that you'll see of me. So I wish you all the best. Hope you come back, join me, and we will be talking about other stuff as time goes on. In fact, my next video should be an interesting one. I'm going to be talking about online dating. All right, so I'm going to end now by just thanking you and to say, always be thankful for your life, always be happy, and remember to always keep smiling. Do remember to like, share, subscribe. Yeah, take care. See you soon. Bye.